Welcome back to the Essential Scale Modeler. I'm Lee. Today we're going to do a reloaded review of the Hataka Hobby paints. Now you may remember about 8, 9 months ago we did a review when they were released. Weren't particularly impressed with them. They were decidedly average. And then you had there was a couple of pots and the couple of bottles and the thing that would not work properly at all, would not spray properly at all. And then there was on the internet lots of things about bad batches and things like that. So not a great start for Hataka, but they've since got in contact. I think eModels, their main distributor, got in contact with them and asked us to send us another pack to do a review. So we're going to do another review of these, so it's going to be a reloaded review, so a second review, because apparently they've changed the pigments and upgraded some other ingredient or anything like that, and apparently don't have the bad batch problem anymore, etc, etc. So we'll do a quick review of the box again like we did last time, but as you can see on the box, it's got a list 8 colours, 8 bottles in there, which is really nice. The Falklands Conflict Paint Set Volume 2 is the one that I've been given. On the box itself, again, just another bit about the paints in there. You've got a QS thing that takes you to the website. What I do like about Hataka Hobby Paints is really nice. It shows you the aircraft that it goes on. It also gives you a write-up of each aircraft, who flew it, you know, and what sorties they flew in and everything. And then you've got the BS color, BS numbers here, and again which aircraft they correspond to and everything. So I think that's a really nice touch. There's more information there than you get in most model kits, to be honest with you, about the actual aircraft that flew. So that's a really nice touch, and all of the Hataka paint sets have got this information on, because they're quite focused. The paint groups are quite focused on a certain subject, arena, or very small period in time. So you know, these colours are very relevant to this thing. I mean, this is Hataka paint set 8TK AS28, so I imagine there's at least 28 sets out there to choose from. Now, the test bed for these, which I'm going to do a spray test obviously, is this, which is a Bandai TIE Fighter, which I'm doing for the Star Wars SIG on ISM. Now, this was meant to be the test piece for the new MiG ammo space range, but they haven't turned up. I ordered them weeks ago and they haven't turned up due to a cock up in their thing and what have you. So I'm going to use these because there is a colour here, this camouflage barley grey, which is pretty much ideal for the TIE Fighter, and the slightly darker one here, the medium sea grey, which will be good for the base and things like that. So I'm going to do this. We're going to go over to the spray bay in a moment. I just want to do, before I do that, is just quickly open up and show you what's in the box. Okay, inside, basically there's nothing else inside the box or anything, it's just a good box, but it's great packaging. You know, the outside sounds weird, great. There's 8 bottles in there, as you can see. Now the thing is with the Hataka paints is, they come out, you can see this here, where it's very hard to mix them, okay? They do come separated, quite well separated. Now the camouflage barley grey, I've shaken this. They do come with balls in, as you can hear. But I have shaken this with my paint shaker, which I'll go in on another review and everything, a homemade jobby. And it's come out absolutely spot on. So they do need a good shake, and a good, I mean, if you're doing this by hand, you need at least a few minutes, you know, shaking this on well, you know, by hand. On the top, it's water-based, airbrush tested, quick drying, shake well is all it says on the bottle. Obviously the number, the BS number, and that's it. 17ml bottles, the same as ammo, model colour, Vallejo, you know, AK, all the same sort of bottles basically. So that's it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to the spray bay and we'll see how they perform under stress. Right, okay then, so here we are in the spray bay. We're going to do the test of the Hataka paints. Now I'm going to go for the camouflage barley grey, which is the A142. And this is out of the Falklands War 2 set. Now I have given this a good shake in the paint shaker and everything, so you can hear the ball in there as well. So give it a quick mix. Test subject is the Bandai TIE Starfighter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this about 20 to 25% with Ultimate Airbrush Thinner there, which will work with everything. Okay, so just test the airshow. We've got an Infinity airbrush on an iWater PowerJet Plus compressor. Air is between 22 and 25 psi. We've got a 0.2 needle in there as well, and as you can see, cup is clear. So we're all ready. It's been washed out and everything. So I'm going to go with a little bit of thinner to start off with. Okay, and then we're going to get some paint in there as well for you. Okay, so we're probably about 35 to 40% thinner ratio there. I'm going to try it a bit thinner first, because our recommended on our chart, which you can't see here, but ultimate thinner chart for Hataka is 40%, I do believe. So I'm just going to try around about that. But the thing is with Hataka paint, it does really matter which colour you're using at that time as to what thinner ratio you should be using, because the thicker the paint, the more the ratio for sure. Okay, so that looks like the right consistency on the side of the cup. Nice, just side of milk. So we're just going to give it a little spray. Now what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to turn on the extractor fan, so it might get a bit noisy, so we'll see, but here we go. Well, it seems to be spraying quite smoothly, so let's take the plunge, and what we'll do now is we'll have a go at the model, and we'll see how we do. I should just do one side of it, and then we'll go from there. We'll do the underside, and then from there we'll see if it's worth doing the rest of the model with. So I'm just going to start off with light coats. So light misting coat. And that quick blow over as well. Do the next coat. And the coverage seems to be quite nice. I've got to say it is going on smooth. The advertising does say that it is meant to be fast drying as well. Obviously, as I'm pre-shading, I'm just going to do light coats, a couple of coats at a time. Don't want to lose those shading lines if I can help it. You can see it's a slightly different colour than the primer. I haven't made up my mind if I'm going to do any post shading on this yet. It will be a case of I'll have a look once I've finished. I've got to say I haven't used these Hataka paints since the last review. I think Paul did the last review. I had a set as well, and I've got to say I didn't really get on with them whatsoever. I wasn't very keen on them, but I have to say it's going along rather nicely. And it's definitely a different paint to the last one I used. I'm just going to give this another blow over there. And you know what? And then I'm going to go for on the whole model. So we'll hit fast forward now. Right, so there you go, that's done. That took a couple of minutes, not long at all. As you can see, I had to fill it up twice, but about the same amount again. It went through quite a bit, even with some thinner in there, which is about 40. It was pretty much bang on 40%, I'd say, and it's covered quite well. I have to say, I don't know if you saw, but it did stick a couple of times. It did dry a couple of times on the needle there. But as I was doing very light mists then, so but that's come out quite bad, quite good. So what we'll do now is we'll go back over to the bench. Right then, so there you go. That was, you see it on the spray booth there. This has been drying now for about, only about 3 or 4 minutes. So I've just literally hopped straight back over to here. And as you can see from the overhead there, there's actually a very nice smooth finish. I did want to go over the top with the pre-shading, but you can just see it coming through on there. I will do a tiny bit of post-shading on there as well. I know in the films and that you didn't have that much and everything, but I do like to add a bit of that to the models. And as you can see, that's actually come out quite nice. I think I just need to touch up on a spot here and a spot there, but apart from that, it's actually a nice smooth finish. It's kind of trying to look a satiny colour. I don't know if the lights are washing it out a bit, but it's like it's very satiny. It's not a matte colour. It's not as glossy as Mr. Hobby or anything like that, but that's come out really nice. I'm actually quite impressed with that. It's a very smooth colour, and it seems to have a bit of depth to it as well, which is nice, and which is saying a lot for a grey. Yeah, so that looks, I've got to say, that sprayed at least 100 times better than the last batch I had from them, that's for sure. I've got to say I like that paint. I may, if I'm going to do, they do specialist colours for specialist, you know, aircraft and you know, scenarios and arenas and things like that. So I think that if you're after a specialist paint set with the correct colours, they do advertise themselves as being 100% historically correct. Now, you know, that's a bold claim, because obviously paint colours and shades and everything is quite a contentious issue in the hobby industry, as to getting the right shades for aircraft, because the same colour can be several different shades, different with one manufacturer as it can to another. I like that. That's a nice grey as well. That does look like a grey that would be on the aircraft at the time. I have to say that I've sprayed quite a few of the English jets and things like that, and that is a good colour. That is a nice colour, and it actually suits that very, very well as well. I think it's whiting out a bit, you know, where it's quite light grey on the lights. I don't know if it can pick it out. I'll see when I edit it, but that's really nice. I've got to say I like that. It's a lovely smooth finish. It's all dry now, completely dry, and it's touch dry, nothing there. You can pick that up. It doesn't feel baby smooth. It has a very slight texture to it, but hardly any whatsoever. So very nice indeed. You could spray it a little bit closer, but I didn't want to spray too close because I didn't want to lose the pre-shading or anything like that on there. But to be honest with you, I've got to say, just from that one paint, obviously I can only try 1 or 2 bottles, but I have to say that you know, that paint set is completely different to how it used to be. That is for sure. And I would say that's a recommend now. I quite like that. I've got to say, I may, if they have changed their colours and everything, and they've changed the pigments, it obviously works a lot better, because that just wasn't fiddly. That was in straight mix. You know, obviously it's not an exact mix, but that was about 40% thinner, you know, 60% paint, and that went down really nice on the 22 to 25 psi, straight out of the gun, straight onto the model. No spitting, spraying or anything like that. So I like that, very nice. That's a recommend for me. And if you are looking for specialist sets, and I think you can't look further than Hataka. And I've got to say a big thank you to eModels for sending us the sample set over. Until next time, take care, bye bye.